something much larger: the right to determine our own political destiny, the right to govern ourselves, the opportunity to shape a nation according to the aspirations of own people. But independence did not come easily. It was the culmination of decades of resistance, political movements, social reforms, sacrifice, and extraordinary courage. From the revolt of 1857 to Swadeshi movement, from non-cooperation movement to civil disobedience, and the finally Quit India movement, India's freedom struggle was not one single movement led by one single group. It was a vast and a complex national movement involving people from different regions, communities, professions, and ideological backgrounds. Some fought through mass movements and non-violence. Some believed in revolutionary actions. Some worked through constitutional and political institutions. Some worked through social reforms, education, journalism, and literature. And many ordinary Indians participated in ways that history books can never record. This is perhaps one of the most important and remarkable aspects of our independence. A diverse society come together around the idea that its future be decided by its own people. And when independence finally arrived, India faced an enormous challenge. We were not only becoming independent, we were also becoming a nation state. Partition had caused immense human suffering, millions were displaced, poverty and illiteracy were widespread. India was extraordinarily diverse in language, culture, religion, and geography. Yet, against all these enormous challenges, India chose a remarkably ambitious path. We adopted a democratic constitution. We established universal adult suffrage from very beginning, the republic, and the extraordinary democratic choice for a country where literacy and income levels were still very low. India's first general elections held in 1952 involved hundreds of millions of citizens what participating in one of the largest democratic exercises in the history. This is an important part of India's story. Independence was not simply the transfer of political power from the Britishers to India. It was the beginning of an experiment in self-government on an enormous scale. Over the decades that followed, India experienced war, economic crisis, political instability, social transformations, and developmental challenges. Yet, the country continued to evolve. We built institutions, we expanded education, we developed industries and infrastructure, we transformed our agricultural system, we built capabilities in science and technology and in space. The economic reforms of 1991 marked another major turning point, opening the India's economy to greater competition and global integration. And in the decades since, India developed significant capabilities in areas ranging from information technology to space exploration. We became one of the world's major economies, but India's journey cannot be understood only through economic numbers or technological achievements. Perhaps most importantly, generation of Indians born after 1947 grew up with something that previous generation had fought desperately to obtain: the ordinary experience of being free citizens of an independent nation. So on a day like today, it is important to remember our history. But I believe Independence Day should not only make us look backwards, it should also make us look inward and forward. Because there is a question that becomes increasingly important with every generation passing. What does independence actually mean to us today? In 1947, the question was, how do we become free from the British colonial rule? Today, the question is different. How do we make freedom meaningful in everyday lives of our citizens? Political independence gave us the sovereignty to govern ourselves, but freedom has many dimensions. A person may have political freedom but still lack economic opportunity. A child may have legal right to education but not have access to good school. Citizens may have freedom of expression, but social pressure make them afraid to express an unpopular opinion. A person may have equal rights under the law, while prejudice and discrimination continue to affect their opportunities. This is why independence cannot be understood only as a historical event. This is also an unfinished social project. And this is where our responsibility of our generation begins. We often speak about rights that independence and our constitution gave us. But citizenship is not only about rights, it's also about responsibility. Democracy does not survive merely on elections that held, it survives where citizens participate, remain informed, respect institutions, and hold the power accountable. Freedom of expression does not mean that we must agree with everyone. It means we must learn to coexist with the disagreement. And patriotism should not simply be an emotion that appears on the national occasions. It should be reflected in how we treat our fellow citizens, how honestly we perform our responsibilities, and how seriously we care about society. This brings us to a larger idea. India today is very different from India that was back in 1947. We are more connected, more urban, more technologically advanced, and increasingly integrated with the global economy. But development creates new responsibilities as well. Technology must improve human lives, and progress must reach people across the region and social backgrounds. Our responsibility is to create an India in which independence is experienced meaningfully by every citizen. An India where people have freedom to work, to question, to participate, to dream, and above all, a freedom to live with dignity. So today, while we celebrate the sacrifices of who gave us freedom, let us also recognize the history does not end with the generation that won freedom. Every generation inherits a country, and every generation leaves behind a country. The question is, what will we make and what will we add to India we inherited? Will we make it more educated, prosperous, inclusive, more innovative, more humane? This is a challenge before us because independence is not something we celebrated once a year and forget for the remaining 364 days. It is a responsibility that we carry every day as a citizens. So let us appreciate how far India has traveled, but let us also recognize how much further we can go. And perhaps that is the most meaningful way to celebrate the independence by asking ourselves what we are going to do with this freedom. Thank you, and I'll congratulate all of you for 18th Independence Day. Thank you. Jai Hind.